To the channel, Crypto Trend Trader here. Just wanted to do a quick update on Bitcoin. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. I was sort of looking at this after I did the video earlier, and I just kind of saw this a little bit and saw how this resistance had been holding up, and just kind of zoomed out and took a look at this. And essentially I had this I think I had this drawn like that. I didn't have it going all the way down to this point right here. I think I had it like, I can't remember how I had it. I think I had it just like this. Yep, I had it like that. So it felt like it had broken down out of this pattern. Kind of looked down here and I thought, man, it looks like you could basically draw it like, you know what I mean? You could draw it like that, you could draw it like that, but regardless how you draw it. But when I just kind of zoomed out and I took a look at this, and essentially we have this like strong resistance point, that lines up, it corresponds like perfectly with, and I'm zooming way out here to show you the 618 fib level. Okay, and that's what we had like broken down to, found support, got that spring and shot up above, and then sold off below, which is essentially like an overshoot, but we're essentially just consolidating right at this same like 618 level. It's the same thing again, and that's what this line's like perfectly up with. And essentially, like, we have put in a lower low, or a higher low, I'm sorry, this whole way up here. So what I think is more likely to happen is, I think what's likely to happen is this pink resistance line breaks and we start getting that move to the upside. And when we get that move to the upside, we'll essentially be testing this resistance again, attempting to break back above that previous support line. But as far as I'm concerned, this is not broken out. We didn't leave that pattern. We're still in it. So realistically, what this pattern represents, okay, and you probably already know this if you're more experienced. If not, we're just going to do a little basic breakdown. Essentially what this pattern represents is, it represents like us selling down here and then trying to move back up but finding resistance. So then we sell back off, but price gets bought sooner because people are like more ambitious that price is going to go back up. So then when price moves back up and it sells off again, it comes back down, but it doesn't go as low this time again, because people are like, oh wait, this might be it. So now that's what's happening. So what I would expect here to happen next is come back up and test this again, and then it fails and comes back down, and then we'll fill out this triangle, and then eventually we'll get a break. And typically with these patterns, what this is symbolizing is that there is in fact a sell wall. So there's like a whale, or whatever you want to call it, entity with a mass amount of coins for sale here. So what happens is price comes down here, they're accumulating the whole time, price starts to rise back up, and then it hits a sell wall and there's not enough buying pressure to move price up. So eventually people lose confidence and then it sells back off. And then they accumulate, price moves back up, hits that sell wall again, people lose confidence, sells back off. But each time it sells back off, people are more confident in the bounce because the price is not going as low. If they were less confident, price would go lower. But they're more confident that we may have bottom. So what's happening now is we're essentially forming multiple levels of confluence that are telling us this could potentially be the bottom. Maybe not the reversal for the entire trend, but at least the potential bottom of essentially this range. I'm not necessarily saying this is the reversal point for the entire trend and this is the bottom. What I'm saying though is that this pattern could potentially be playing out as a bottoming pattern. So then if we take the measured move off of this, essentially what happened was we got that inverted head and shoulder. But essentially now this is our atom. This is like the triangle portion of it, the V. And then the eve is the round portion of it. And what we're doing right now is we're filling out this round portion, filling out essentially a bottoming pattern. And then the measured move for this pattern is from the bottom to the top of the pattern. the bottom to the neckline, however you want to call it. So if we take this break right here, what we could expect is this to play out. And then now look at that level of confluence right there. Now we have the exact measured move, and the measured move is taking us that 21% from where we're at currently. But it's also taking us exactly from the heart line and the breakout point and the resistance point to the top of the channel that has been holding as resistance this entire downward consolidation pattern. And then what's that going to line up with right here in green? Well, I'm going to have to go to a longer time frame to show you. I'm sorry, we're like zoomed way in. It's tough looking at this chart on a longer time frame too because there's so much junk. Look, our measure move is going to take us up to this green line right here. And when we zoom out, that green line is essentially that resistance point that we couldn't break above after we topped out previously. So, what I would expect to happen is we basically get that massive move off this key level of confluence, push up to the top, and then get rejected at that area we couldn't previously break ahead or break above, and then sell back off and continue to essentially like fill out this consolidation pattern. Now in the event that we did come up here, got the measure move, and broke out to the upside and broke out of this pattern, the next thing we would essentially be doing is attempting to take out this previous high. And if we took out that high right there, I think that would look extremely bullish for the market, especially on longer time frames. If we got to close outside of this channel, took out the previous high of that swing, and then eventually sold back off, retested the breakout, or retested one of these horizontal support zones. This would be a great support zone if we retested that 9200, which is the level we broke down from, which is obviously what we would be retesting as resistance. So what I would expect to happen is a situation where we did like essentially form this pattern right here, break up, and then form a very similar pattern again, where we attempt to break through this and then potentially break to the upside. But I mean, a lot has to happen for this to play out. But essentially, it all happens a little bit at a time. And right now, the little bit that potentially could be playing out is, we're essentially just filling out this triangle. And we have a flat level of resistance, multiple touches on the bottom, multiple touches on the top. What I would like to see here is a third touch and rejection, back down, essentially like break through this purple line, touch the top of the channel, get rejected, come back down here, touch again at the bottom, and then get the move up and break. And I think that's very likely to happen. But if we break through this purple resistance line right here, this descending resistance line, if we break through this powerfully and we get a bunch of volume comes in, I don't think it's unrealistic to think that we could come through here and, basically get a powerful move over the next, next few days. Essentially, it's, we'll see. We'll see how the market's open. The stock market looks extremely bullish with that close on Friday. So it may open extremely powerfully. It may gap down. Who knows what's going to happen. But I think it will probably affect crypto. And then also, I'm seeing these three dots right here on the VPCI. And we almost always get some kind of at least an attempted push up after that. So I guess you could call it this maybe. But I don't know. Seeing this enough times and everything, and seeing the volume slowly turning green like that on the Water explosion, and seeing the TJD on balance volume just kind of creeping slowly towards that line, it's just making me think that the potential is there. And then look how this last 4-hour candle closed too. I mean, technically it's a doji, but it's sold down and got completely bought up. So everything that's attempted to close below that 618 has gotten bought up for 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 5th candle now. So that's 4-hour candles. So this is almost an entire day of consolidating and not getting a candle below it. And then before that, look how long we had. And we got literally that stab down and the push right back up. So this pattern that's starting to form right here looks bullish to me. Not to macro reverse the trend, but I mean, we basically like got a rejection to the upside and then a rejection to the downside. And we're filling out this pattern. And typically when I'm looking at trend lines, I take like horizontal trend lines as the strongest. And then if I'm going to look at like a, a diagonal trend line or something like that, I'll take it by which one goes back the furthest and has the most touches. So in this case, if I was going to compare this purple line here to the green line there, obviously the purple line does not go back as far. The green line goes back further. And then we're going to look at touches, and we essentially have a couple touches on, this purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7 here very soon, as opposed to on the green where we only have, 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 here very soon. But, I would have to take the strength of the green, and then also, that would potentially lead us right to our target here, for the short-term move up here at about 7,800 to retest this resistance line and, potentially break and move to the upside. But again, we'll see how this all plays out. That's not confirmed yet. If we sell off right here and come down and test to the bottom of the range, that's almost 2%. So better make sure you're not going to get taken out of your stop loss before then, because that's about the worst thing that can happen is you're right about the direction, get a bad entry, and then end up getting taken out. But this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. This is Crypto Trend Trader, another market update. Just saw something a little different, and want to put it out there because I try to always not only document for myself, but for the community when I do see something different, and put it out there in an attempt to just share what I'm seeing. And that way we can see how it all plays out. Maybe it's all just a psych out and we're about to just sell off right here and BART back down. And then I'll look back and say, man, can't believe I fell for that. But, that's how you learn. So Crypto Trend Trader. And look at that. As that 4-hour close there too, we just got the cross up. Look at that. Just got the cross up on the VPCI confirmed above. I mean, it's not a guarantee here, but, it's starting to look better and better. But we'll see how it all plays out. Let's see how water tower is. I mean, the volume is, like, trailing off. So, I mean, this is telling me that we're very likely to get, a strong, powerful move very soon. And although the slope on the on-balance volume is still trending to the downside, you could see it's not strengthening necessarily to the downside. You could see a potential for like a reversal if any kind of volume comes in here. And that would, align perfectly essentially with a break of this purple trend line. So at this point in time, I think 7,800 looks very likely.